People think gods fear nothing, not pain, not loss, not death, because gods are supposed to stand above those things, untouchable, eternal. But there was one god who spent his existence chasing something he could never escape, the future, Odin, king of Asgard, god of wisdom, ruler of gods and warriors. But titles can be deceptive because Odin was not searching for power, he was searching for answers, and there is a difference. Power gives control, answers can destroy peace, because Odin learned something terrifying, something that changed him forever. One day, everything would end, not kingdoms, not people, everything. The gods called it Ragnarok, the final war, the death of gods, the collapse of the world itself. And Odin saw something inside that future, not victory, not survival, his own end. Most beings would look away, most would refuse to know, but Odin was different, because once he sensed the truth, he could no longer stop searching. He wanted details, more answers, more knowledge, because maybe if he understood enough he could change fate itself, and that search would cost him more than he imagined, because some knowledge is not discovered. It is purchased, and the price was about to be paid. There are things people say they want: power, truth, knowledge, but most people only want those things until they learn the price, because knowledge sounds beautiful until it asks for something in return. And for Odin, the price was real, very real. His search for answers eventually led him somewhere ancient, somewhere older than kings, older than war, older than the gods themselves, a place hidden beneath the roots of the world, a well, not ordinary water, not a sacred river, something deeper, the well of wisdom, a place said to contain knowledge beyond imagination, knowledge of fate, of truth, of things not meant to be seen. But wisdom was not free. Waiting beside it stood Emir, silent, watching. And when Odin asked to drink from the well, the answer came, yes, but not without payment, because truth always costs something, and the price was one eye, not symbolic, not temporary, permanent. Imagine that moment, standing at the edge of ultimate knowledge, knowing that once you choose there's no one doing it. No second chance, no return. Most would walk away, most would decide that some answers simply are not worth losing part of themselves. But Odin did not hesitate, because by this point he had become obsessed, not with power, with certainty. He needed to know, needed to see, needed to understand what waited at the end of time. So he made the choice, and in exchange for knowledge, he gave away part of himself forever. One eye, gone, and then he drank. The stories say wisdom entered him, but maybe something else entered too, because knowledge changes people, not gradually, completely. And Odin began seeing things differently, not with his remaining eye, with his mind, because once you see possibilities, you can never return to ignorance. And what Odin saw was terrifying: fragments, images, shadows of things yet to come, war, fire, darkness, death, not only the world ending, himself ending, because fate had not changed. It had only become clearer, and that was the cruelest part. He paid a terrible price, and still did not find peace. If you're still here, then you already understand something. The darkest stories were never about monsters, they were about choices, about how far someone is willing to go for answers. So subscribe now, because the stories ahead become stranger and much darker. And from that moment on, Odin stopped searching for knowledge, because now he was searching for a way to survive fate itself. There is something strange about obsession. At first, it looks like determination, like ambition, like strength, but if it grows long enough, it becomes something else, something darker, because by now, Odin had already sacrificed an eye for knowledge, and still, it was not enough, because the future remained unchanged. The vision still came: war, fire, the end of gods, Ragnarok, and Odin could not accept it, not because he feared pain, because he feared inevitability, the idea that no matter what he learned, no matter what he sacrificed, the ending remained the same. So he searched again, further than before, deeper than before, until he reached something unlike anything else in existence: the world tree, Yggdrasil. Not a tree in the way humans imagine trees, something larger, something holding worlds together. Its roots touch places even gods barely understood: life, death, fate itself, and standing before it, Odin made a decision, one that sounds impossible. He sacrificed himself. To himself. No army forced him. No enemy demanded it. This choice came entirely from him. The stories say he hung from Yggdrasil for 9 days and 9 nights. No food. No water. No comfort. Only silence, only pain, only endless waiting. Imagine that, the king of gods. Alone, not on a throne, not surrounded by warriors, hanging between worlds, watching darkness, waiting for something to happen, because Odin believed that hidden somewhere inside suffering, there was knowledge still waiting. And as time passed, the world became quieter, slower, stranger, until eventually, something appeared, not a voice, not a god, symbols, shapes, meaning hidden inside mystery, the runes, ancient forces woven into reality itself, knowledge not discovered, revealed, and Odin reached for them, because even after all the pain, all the sacrifice, he still reached forward, still searching, still wanting more. And that says something terrifying, because sometimes people believe knowledge ends fear, that understanding brings peace, but Odin had become proof of something else. Sometimes knowledge feeds fear, sometimes answers create more questions, sometimes the search itself never ends, and hanging there between life and death, between wisdom and obsession, Odin finally understood something. The future had not changed, but he had, and once a person changes enough, they can never truly return. Most people spend their lives avoiding one thought, the end, not tomorrow, not failure, the real end, because deep down, people tell themselves something comforting, that there is time to change, time to prepare, time to become stronger. But Odin lost that comfort long ago, because unlike everyone else, he knew what waited. He knew the name, Ragnarok, not a rumor, not a possibility, a certainty, the final war, the collapse of the world, the death of gods. And somewhere inside those visions, Odin saw himself, not victorious, not standing above ruins, falling, because fate had shown him something terrifying. Even the king of gods was not above endings, and that changes a person, because once you know your future, every decision becomes heavier, every victory feels temporary, every moment becomes a countdown. But something strange happened. Odin did not stop. He did not hide. He did not abandon the world. Instead, he prepared, he gathered warriors, he searched for knowledge, he strengthened what he could, not because he believed he would win, because he believed it still mattered. And maybe that is the most important part of his story, because Odin never truly defeated fear. He carried it every day, every decision, every sacrifice, and still, he kept moving, because courage is often misunderstood. People imagine courage as fearlessness, but that is not courage. Courage is moving forward, while fear walks beside you. And maybe that is why Odin still matters. Not because of his throne, not because of power, but because he represents something deeply human, the desire to understand the future. Even when the truth hurts, the desire to prepare. Even when success is uncertain, and the choice to continue. Even when the ending is already known, because in the end, Odin never escaped fate. No wisdom changed it. No sacrifice erased it. But perhaps that was never the point, because the future cannot always be controlled, only faced, and somewhere beyond the halls of gods. Beyond the last battle, beyond the end of worlds, the one-eyed king kept walking toward the thing he feared most, knowing exactly where the path ended, and walking forward anyway.